I'd like to begin by thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for His endless grace. I'd like to thank Rabbi, Mr. Frishman, who's also been working very hard. Mr. Cohen, the math bio teacher, showed up back there. He's the best. But what you're looking at really is a labor of love, which has been a group effort. And I'm not sure where to even start. The parents for tonight's event, Mrs. Idel, Mrs. Grossman, and the truth is, I can go through every single one here, but the parents have been working from the second we started. It's been an amazing thing, and the boys feel the love. The mission statement is Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. It's what we say every day by davening. It's what many Jews have died for, and what we're aiming to live for, and live and breathe. A life where we're connected to Hashem, and we incorporate into all situations that come our way. Travel down a little bit further in Shema, we got the mission statement, so how do we fulfill that? Right? I think when you study, I think that perhaps that's really a guidance, a handbook of how to get to the mission statement. To love Hashem with all of our everything. Love, emotions, feelings. I know that a lot of parents, what we want for our kids is to be happy. And it's an age-old concept. We just want you to be happy. And there's a pressure, we have responsibility, because why do we say that? Because we know when they are happy, when our children are happy, so the values that we give them, really that's soaked up. But as the boys graduate elementary school and head to high school, there are things that happen. And I don't know if it's necessarily about just being happy, because there are other wonderful emotions. There's fear, there's sadness, there's anger, a few others that creep up. And I think many times we're taught that the serving Hashem is just about the happy and the love. But if we can figure out, with all components of our heart, all emotions and all feelings, number one, to know that it's okay, number two, to understand that, not that it's okay, it's actually l'chachila. Every emotion is important. Fear can do great things. And just a small inkling into what I've witnessed of the growth of the love from the parents and the efforts of these boys the last few weeks. They should get a round of applause, actually. To build a yeshiva is a sacred mission, not a simple thing. The beauty of how this yeshiva was started is what I think is what keeps us going. And thank you all for joining. Thank you all for listening. And we should all get the siyat d'shmaya we need for our children. And it gives you guys bracha, that you guys get the clarity you need to harness all of your emotions, your feelings, your ideas, and just keep working. And we love you guys. I'd like to introduce who we are. First of all, it's Mr. Simcha Frishman. He's our General Studies Principal. Don't be shy. Relax. Mr. Cohen's a hero. He's an amazing person. And we have Rabbi Kestenham Shikam, who's just a hop and skip away. And we have introducing for the very first time publicly, the one and only Rabbi Israel Monk, who will be joining next year. Really a special edition. Very, very. My 12th grade Rebbe, Yeshiva Rockaway, Aaron Kaufman and Shliko, Waterbury, told us in high school that an enigma that the person you're friends with in 9th, 10th grade is who you're going to be, literally, when you're 35, 45 years old. And the tragedy is that you might not even remember his first name. Which means, obviously, friendships that are real stay on for a very long time. Pretty interesting, this is the first one of myself, we graduated in the same class in Yeshiva Rockaway. I was obviously much higher in academics. He definitely was off some sort of chart. I'm not sure which chart it was. It's an interesting dynamic to see, because this really was the impetus in my head to open up a high school. I actually said the second I left high school that I want to open up a high school one day. I remember that clearly. I remember it saying, okay, that's very funny, that's great, nice, you know. And I had this idea, which has been going on for a while, and in my summers in Eretz Yisrael, I saw a lot into the mind of a kid. I don't think anything's lacking today. I think there's so much of everything today, although I think the packaging of it properly is needed. And I think an upgrade on the things that are crucial to the nth degree. So that's at the first open house, the idea of the endless degree of responsibility. In the realm of cultivating Yiras Shamayim, the only thing we have to take accountability for is that we have to do everything and anything to the moon and back to cultivate the Yiras Shamayim for these guys and for all the Bachrim of the yeshiva. I think a very important component you might want to consider is the friends. I think the friendships and the relationships in the yeshiva are very important. I am very involved, but I also am very aware that I'm 37 years old, and I think their relationship is way more important to a certain extent, and I think that is a healthy setting for relationships. Is the breathing air of the yeshiva to a certain extent. Relationships is extremely important to us at the yeshiva. We build strong when we have the motivation of creating that. And I think of these guys, and I think of them as husbands and fathers, Mirta Hashem, not too soon. But that's really what I think is extremely important. I think the setting of the environment of what we're doing is something very unique and special. Rosh has his ways, how things turned out. Interestingly enough, when I started, first time around, was very, very intent on actually settling out there in Long Beach. We ended up staying in the 5 towns. Long Beach was very interested at the time in bringing us out there. It's so crazy. It's the center of everything, but it's so far away. It's so relaxing being there. It's just out of town, right in the center of town. It's a very interesting situation. The community is thrilled, more or less. It's that one guy, but everyone's very happy with the breath of fresh air. It's a sense of mission. It's a really special opportunity, and I think it's a unique component. I think there's a concept of extracurricular today, which is, I think, used to be considered like a nice thing. I think today it's like having a car with no gas. I think extracurricular is the gasoline, and football teams, basketball teams with the young Israel, but a lot of different things. We incorporated for these guys for now was something called Krav Maga, which I didn't realize how successful it would be. But on a weekly basis, the instructor is telling me that these boys are showing themselves how they can push their limits, and we're watching them build healthy self-esteem. And I find that these things really is sometimes when they see that and feel that, it's the be-all and end-all sometimes, and I think it all adds up. It's a very special environment. The relationship to Yiddishkeit is something I view as an achrayus, creating habits. Whatever we are now might be a replication of our earlier years in the world of relationships and in the world of midos and in the world of halacha. And it's hard, because sometimes kids, the brachos aren't so inspiring, or sometimes they don't make, maybe, perhaps. But we say this is the training station, and if you're not feeling it right now, that's fine. Doesn't mean it's not right, doesn't mean you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. And then I drive them crazy, but everything to do with the realm of Yiddishkeit and yeshiva is upheld, standards, and it's okay. My daughter Rivka said she doesn't want to fly the airplane, she doesn't know how to do it, she doesn't know how it works. And I said, I can't really explain to you how it works, but we're going to take the flight. So we can do these things even though we don't feel it, as long as we understand and we trust, and then a continual education of it, of the what's and the whys and the hows, in a very simplistic but basic and emotionally connected way, I think is crucial, and we're doing that. It's a process which I think over and over again through neuroplasticity will all come together in a beautiful way to fulfill that goal of walking off the podium, very balanced and healthy adult. And that leads us to Mr. Frischman, who a large part of it is the goal is to really prepare them to be husbands and fathers, and that comes with the world of being able to meet the challenges, to say many of the jobs, mainly the stuff they train you for in high school. When you start those jobs, whatever they're training for now, those jobs may not even exist by the time they graduate high school. So it takes a very well thought out creation of the mix of fulfilling the requirements, but thinking of all matters that are timeless and that are crucial. We want to you ask the boys, sometimes it's hard to understand why biology is going to change our life. If it's not important, then we won't do it. We developed an idea, which you started with these guys already, is it's just a little bit out there, but we don't have to have a longer day. We don't have to say we're doing this in this class because it looks good. Every part of the day is thought through, and everything comes up with a reason and a purpose, something we can explain in one sentence or less. And that's me speaking, right? So I can go on for a while. But that's really what we've been working towards. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Frischman, who is